Hey guys, Future Man 19 here, doing an impromptu live session. Let me just check my mic real quick. Give me 1 second, see if it's working. Okay, sounds like it's working. So, all right, guys. Hey guys. Um, so this is going to be like it's kind of the second part from the other live video that I did a little bit ago, called the end of tribulation. Rapture is imminent. So this is like part two to that video. So if you haven't seen that video, I would recommend watching that one first. Else you might get a little lost. I'm going to be going over a few videos of Edward Riordan. So if you haven't checked out his channel, it's right here, Edward Riordan. Um, he has a lot of really good videos. He does a remote. He's a professional remote viewer. So it's a very interesting subject. Hey Linville, what's up? How you doing? Uh, I hope you guys are having a good day. By the way, I just had some extra time today, so I thought I should just get this done with because I was been wanting to do it for a minute now, and April's coming up shortly, which is what all these videos are about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my previous videos. So in April, I believe April 8th, there's going to be another solar eclipse that's going to mark a giant X. Um, if you put the first giant solar eclipse from the one in August in 2017, which would mark the 7 years of tribulation, and I believe this April 8th is kind of like the last warning sign to for all of us to repent, especially here in America, because as you can see, we've been going downhill because we have not repented, and nothing. If we don't repent, then we're not promised anything. So I think it's God's way of saying, "Hey, everyone, look up to the heavens. Something's happening. Here's a giant X. X marks the spot. So it's our time." So, anyways, another disclaimer: if you guys are watching this after I've already posted it, after the live session is done, you might want to put on the like the 1.5 speed or the 2 times speed to speed up the videos. That's what I do because usually they're kind of long and then I talk kind of slow. So that helps a lot when I'm rewatching the videos. So, anyways, I don't have much time, so I'm gonna dive into this. This is actually a video he posted a couple of weeks ago. Has over 5,000 views. It says strange things happening to Earth. This video is from May 2020. So I may have gone over this video a while back. I'm not gonna go over the whole thing, but I think he says some key points in here that's gonna tie into his other newer videos from this year. Actually, either they're from this year or from the end of last year. So he's talking about how the scientists have detected evidence of a parallel universe where time runs backwards. So I think all of this is tying in to what rapture is and kind of the science behind that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be playing these videos and then just pausing it um, where I think it's a good part to talk about. So
video here, and I'm going to try to do this justice and try to get out some thoughts here about some strange things that I have been picking up in my remote viewing sessions for the past several years that have to do with where our solar system is in the galaxy and the types of particles and energy waves that are hitting the planet and, and some of the potentials from that. Now, if memory serves, unless I can find, I have so much remote viewing material over the past 20 years. I have so many sessions that it's hard to keep track of everything that I've done. But if memory serves, the Earth's Core project that I worked in 2018.
So if you guys want to go have an in-depth look of what he's talking about, the Earth core videos that he did, they're actually the remote my videos that I have on my page. It's a three-part series called the remote viewing of QAnon. So um I go into very in depth of these videos that he's bringing up here.
I believe was the first one where I started to pick up information regarding energies that are hitting the planet. Now, that project I did in 2018, the target was the Earth's core, set up for me by my friend Dustin, and I began describing things like this. There were some rhythmic patterns of motion, some type of energy system with these particles like these that were being picked up in the ice by some type of antenna or array of some kind. That they were picking up these particles. Now, as it has come out, there are neutrinos and different types of space energies, I guess I can call it space energies, that have been being detected in the ice in Antarctica.
So I've talked about this before. It's called the Ice Cube Neutrino Facility. It's stationed in Antarctica. All those conspiracy theories that you hear about of why people are not going to Antarctica and why they're not allowed, this is the actual reason why they're not allowed, because they're doing a lot of scientific experiments there. Um, they're messing with all kinds of space energies and who knows what else, right? So this is actually happening. Let me see. I put up a. So he's seen these antennas. There's something under the ice, right? He's calling it an antenna, which it is. It's an array. This is the actual Ice Cube Neutrino facility. So they have these antennas that pick up uh, any kind of cosmic rays and neutrinos that fly through the Earth, and that's what he's talking about here. And this video actually, they posted this in July in 2018, but this is actually the 923 um, the 923 event that happened in 2017. So they didn't post it until much later, the year after. But see, this is the time they clocked it in 2017, and then on 922/923, depending on which time zone you're in. But this is the actual thing, the actual neutrino that they captured. So when the neutrino goes through their array, their antennas, they they see the path where it goes through, and all these are the energies that it's picking up. So it's a brilliant, has an immense amount, an enormous amount of energy that this one particular neutrino on 923 in 2017 happened. That's to me um, a a big sign of a prophecy. That's one of the big prophecies about the woman in the sky. I talk about it so much in my videos. Again, watch my other previous videos, but this was like one of their greatest. This is one of the greatest discoveries in in astrophysics, or pretty much a lot of science, because they say this discovery changes the standard model of physics and all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of interesting I guess, experiments or theories or new scientific evidence that has come out since this has happened. So they have a whole, if you want to watch, there's a whole nother conference that they had just on this one event that happened in 2017. So it's an enormous event. It's marked as a big scientific achievement. They obviously spent billions of dollars on this facility. This thing is humongous. If you watch my other videos, you'll see even like they put like the Empire State Building in it, and it's like it looks like a miniature inside of this thing. So this thing is freaking huge. And this is under the ice in Antarctica. But so let's continue listening to what he says.
by an array that they have down there, which I found out when I was doing my research. That was session number. This was session number 2 from the Earth's core. This is session number 3.
So he's talking
This
about
is
cosmic rays
again
bombarding
particles.
Earth.
But
And
this
hitting
again, this is
Earth.
from 2018.
So 2018
And I
was
have these
when they
things.
put out the findings of what's going on. See, cosmic rays, cosmic rays are bombarding Earth. Rays are hitting the Earth.
Things here. They're shooting up and they're shooting down. So there are things going in and there are things coming out. This is an article that came out a couple of weeks ago. NASA scientists detect evidence of a parallel universe where time runs backwards. Okay.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Donnie Darko? If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. All of this reminds. So Donnie Darko, the director, actually is the same director who directed Southland Tales. If you watch my video called "This Is the Way the World Ends," not with a whimper but with a bang. So that whole video that I did, it's just scenes from Southland Tales, because there's something about this director. You might even think of him as some sort of prophet. Okay, so or he's having visions of this end times. He's basically explaining through a cinematic experience that all these things that are that are being talked about, being prophesied in the book of Revelation, it's all happening, but it's not happening in the way most Christians would agree with, or how most people would think of it happening. Like I said in my previous live video, I was like, there's a sort of twist going on where it's like we're almost like entering parallel dimensions, where it's like the same prophecies are being fulfilled, but it's like not in the way that we would normally think they would. Um, and you kind of have to. So if you want to watch the movie, that's great, but you could watch my video. This is the way the world ends. It's kind of a brief overview summary of that video and kind of the major parts that I kind of put together to give you a storyline. But he also made this movie called Donnie Darko. And I also kind of put Donnie Darko in one of my movies of one of my videos where I explain how I experienced death when I was in a car wreck when I was really little, and then I went to this this other space, what I call the white space, where if you watch a lot of testimonies of people who have died, they always talk about being in a white space. Okay, excuse me. So Donnie Darko, it's another sort of prophetic movie, and it didn't do well in the theaters, just like Southland Tales. But it's like they're both of these movies are all-star casts. It's like Hollywood knows, it's like these people know. My kind of weird tangent theory on what celebrities are, like we call them stars, right? So, and we get this concept of like a fallen star in the Bible, right? Like Lucifer is kind of the fallen star, right? This is what I think like of these celebrities. I feel like these celebrities are like they know the truth. Like Hollywood knows the truth, but it's like if you've seen the Matrix movie, you know that French guy who I think he's French, right? He's like uh I forget what his name is. But he's like he's kind of like a bad guy in the movie, but not really. He's kind of like a chaotic neutral kind of character. He's bigger in the second movie, but of the Matrix movie, but it's kind of that concept where I feel like these stars, like just like the guy in that the Matrix, I forget his name, but it's like they're like they know that there's a Zion, they know that there's a heaven, but it's like they're so content to living in this third density, this world, right? Like they've married this world, and it's like they know they're eternal. They know, it's almost like the reason why I think these celebrities are also like they're so good at acting and playing different characters. It's kind of like they are reincarnated over and over and over and over in this world because they have chosen to to only participate in this world like it's like they don't want to go to this next dimension, this next density, this higher level of living. It's like they love it here where they can do all these things that they want to do, and they never want to basically make it to heaven. They just kind of stay down here. Like it's like they're being, it's like they want to be held back in school. Like when someone gets held back in school, it's like they're bigger, they're more mature, and it's like they already know kind of like what happens, right? And it's like the same people. Like that's just a tangent conspiracy kind of theory that I've come up with. Um, anyways, but like as I was saying with Donnie Darko, if you watch the movie, I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but like so it's kind of a hard thing to describe, but it's like when he at the end is kind of the beginning. So it's like it like time rewinds itself. You see like a parallel portal that opens up. He goes into it and he's transported back in time. So everything in the movie is rewound to the very beginning of when the movie first starts. So it's like I feel like it's kind of like the concept of hell, right? Like you keep repeating and repeating the same things over and over until you finally are able to break free of it, right? Until you finally learn the lesson that this life is trying to teach you. It's like you have to keep repeating these lifetimes over and over and over until you finally are able. It's kind of like Groundhog Day or something, right? You just keep repeating it over and over and over until you finally like kind of figure it out, right? That's kind of how I feel like about my life as well. Like I feel like is this all really happening? Is this like all just like a dream right now? Is this all like what's going on? Because it's like that's how this life feels kind of so surreal to me in a way. So, anyways, let me continue on with the video.
Okay, that's a very interesting title. Let's get in. This is the Anita Array in Antarctica, which, in my opinion, is what this is here from my remote viewing back in 2018. Experts, wait, where does it see? A constant high wind of high energy particles constantly arrives on Earth from outer space. Low energy subatomic neutrinos with a mass close to zero can pass completely through Earth, but high energy objects are stopped by the solid matter of our planet. That means the high energy particles can be detected coming down from space. But the team's Anita detected heavier particles called tau neutrinos, which come up out of the Earth. The finding implies that these particles are actually traveling backward in time. This article came out on May 19th. This is what I drew in 2018. There are particles going up and there are particles going down. Okay, that's very interesting to me. This is a session. This is a crypto viewing session that can be found on the crypto viewing site. This is from April 14th of this year. And this session, I was drawn to some energy happening to the Earth. And it felt like a warp, a strange element of force here, altering timelines, restructuring timelines. It's affecting time. It's affecting time. Here.
If you watch one of my earlier videos from like 2017, I have like this exact picture of like a Earth splitting, like going in different parallel dimensions. It's kind of a fun fact there.
This is another session from the same project here from Crypto Viewing. Something is coming through space. We are going to be flooded with some kind of space energy, like our solar system is catching the tail end of an energy field, causing changes and disruptions in electromagnetic fields and time distortions.
Okay, so I thought that was interesting because do you guys remember 2 days ago on, I guess it was the 22nd February 2024, people were so powerful twin solar flares erupt from sun as cell phone outages spike across the US. It remains unclear if there's a connection between these two events. So at the same time, I believe it was AT&T, their kind of like their whole national network went down. I don't have AT&T, so I don't know, but that's what I heard. And at the same exact time, there was powerful solar flares happening. So he's saying this in 2020, how there's going to be it's going to be affecting EM fields and all this stuff, electromagnetic fields. And then we have this happening just a couple of days ago. So, interesting, right? Is it a coincidence? Do we believe in coincidences? So let's continue.
And time distortions. That was from April. So what is happening here? I'm being drawn to something happening to the planet. Something happening to the planet. This is from the Earth Score session here from back in 2018, where these wave signals are coming in. That I'm perceiving. Wave signals are being detected. Signal patterns. Detecting signals in the recording. They're being recorded. People are getting these signatures, picking them up, and recording the frequencies, where they're coming from. Something outside of the solar system, like a pulsar or something like that. And I use these terms very generically because
it's just like the planet X that everyone has always talked about forever. Is that what's going on here? Is it flying by our planet, affecting us?
I'm not really sure what a pulsar is, so it could be something else. But this is the idea here, which brings me to this article that came out May 4th. Fast radio bursts could be distant Magn Stars. Magn Stars. The story here is that on April 28th, 2 radio telescopes spotted a new fast radio burst like pulse originating from a flaring magnetar located some 30,000 light years away, putting it firmly within our Milky Way. And just a few days later, they detected another burst from the same nearby object. Is that what this is? Is that what I'm getting here? Or part of what I'll say is that part of what's happening here that I am sensitive to? And what could it mean? What could it mean? this is for crypto viewing as well. By the time this video comes out, this will probably have been published already in crypto viewing. But this is for June predictions, and this I did on May, I believe it was May 24th. Again, of some type of space energy moving through and affecting the planet and the satellites. And so it makes me wonder what, see, for me, it's not that I am perceiving these things and experiencing these things. It's not that I am experiencing them. It's why I'm experiencing them. Why am I experiencing? Why am I experiencing this where there are things shooting up and coming down? And now it's being detected almost 2 years later. And they're thinking that it could be these particles may be moving in reverse. That time may be going in reverse. And I'm picking that up here in early April, that something is hitting the Earth and it's causing time fluctuations, affecting time.
The end times, right? Maybe they were speaking literally when they meant the end times, as in time will be going in reverse for some people. Is that what the rapture is? Anyways, I think that's the most that I wanted to show you for this video. So the next video, this is one of his newer ones. This is part 3. I've talked about part 1 and 2 in my other live video, the end of tribulation. The end of tribulation. So this is interesting stuff here. Let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, so here right off the bat, here's Betelgeuse. Right at the beginning of the session, an energy movement. There's an event here, something happening. This goes to the tasking of the supernova, which is one of the primary objectives of the remote viewing, is to look at the supernova event of this. So I feel on target on this. So the rest of the session then makes more sense to me, and there are, in my opinion, important points. Moving on. The creation of something. Here again is the symbology. When something was created or made, I had the question, how did it happen? A burst effect. And again, this symbology of the eyeball, the eye comes in. The burst effect. Like looking at something and then there's a burst effect. Bursting. What does that even mean, though? The opening of something, like a doorway, symbolic, an interpretation of light frequencies or spectrums. This to me goes to the primary objective here. If this thing blows, this is the thing goes supernova, and people are watching. Okay, I get that. The eye symbology is also very important. Now we get into some of the more symbolic stuff here that I think tells the story here, like a snapshot of who you are. Who are you? Question mark. Where are you? Question mark. To put a hold on someone, to quote unquote capture them, even for a moment. Then a type of streaming or download occurs.
Okay. So this is like rapture stuff that he's talking about. So everything in this world has a polarity. So if the rapture is true, then there's an antithesis to the rapture. There's an opposite. Kind of, so like the rapture is the light side, and the dark side would be this other kind of mark the beast kind of thing, right? There's always an opposite of what's going on. There's always opposition to what's happening in God's kingdom here in this world. So we live in the 3D world, which there's a polarity to everything. There's always a light and the dark, male, female. There's an opposite to everything. So this is reminding me of, if you ever watched the TV show Future Man on Hulu, there's like a part in it where it's kind of making fun of like Elon Musk, and how like Elon Musk has the Neuralink, right? There's the kind of same thing going on there. People think that they're going to Mars when it's actually like a virtual reality kind of space where they download their consciousness into a artificial realm. So I think this is kind of like mixing in with that, where I think that's what the ultimately the mark of the beast will become, is sort of a place where people will want to live in artificially, like artificially made heaven, kind of, so to speak, where they live, where they download their consciousness there. Like there's a lot of TV shows and things like that. Like Upload is a new one on Amazon Prime. They upload their consciousness into like a heaven like world. There's all these kinds of things. Like I said, Hollywood always is knows the truth, and they're like either mocking the truth or like making fun of it, things like that. So like a snapshot of who you are, to put a hold on someone, to capture them even for a moment. It reminds me of like why we say like why we say like Jesus saves, is because he saves who we are, like he, like as in a character in a video game, like we're saved. Our personality, our consciousness, all that is saved. It's not erased when we die, right? So he's saving us. It's kind of the same thing that's happening here, and we'll go into more of what this means in a second.
What does that even mean, though? A catalog of others. Capstone. A deep reference.
A capstone. Okay, remember the pyramid. The top of the pyramid is referred to as the capstone. That's the same capstone that's on all of our dollar bills. The pyramid with the eye in it. That's the capstone. Okay.
That was interesting to me. What did that mean? What did that mean? Reference. To know everyone. Identify everyone. But why? Oh, I wonder. An inventory and a sequence. A binding. To put things or people together.
So that's like the same concept of like the wheat being gathered and the chaff being gathered. So both sides are being gathered here, right? This is the rapture where they're both. It's like it's like God has a plan, right? So it's like everything, he has to put everyone either in this category or this category, right? And it's remind me of, he goes on to talk about this crystal, this diamond, this glass, this stone here, right? So it's a dark stone here, which I'm thinking it's referring to something else, which I'll show you in a minute. But we read in Revelation chapter 2, this is talking about uh, the tribulation and them coming out of the tribulation, the people that are able to overcome. So he that hath an ear, this Revelation 2, chapter 17. Revelation chapter 2, verse 17. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth. So when it says overcome, to him that overcometh, okay, overcometh what? He's talking about the tribulation. So people that overcome the tribulation, he will give them a new white stone with a new name written, which is the name of God. And another verse in Revelation talks about, so there's two types of people, right? There's the people that put the mark of the beast in their forehead, but then there's the other group, the elect, the 144,000, okay, that have God's name written in their foreheads. So this is the new name written, and they all sing a new song, right? Which is a frequency, a harmonic frequency. Same thing with the number 144,000 is actually and a harmonic frequency that's tied in with like the Fibonacci sequence and basically just the natural order of things, right? Like there's always this war going on between the artificial versus the natural. Natural is God's way, right? Artificial is man's way. So when you're taking the mark of the beast, it's an artificial technology. So you're choosing that route. You're choosing to have your consciousness downloaded where they're going to promise you, oh, you're going to live forever, you're going to be immortal because you put your consciousness into this device, and then it saves you, right? That's the real antichrist, right? Like they're going to promise that, oh, you're going to be saved, but really you're going to lose your consciousness and you're not going to be saved, right? Whereas the natural way, God's plan is, it gives you get you're put above that all those artificial frequencies and things, and you're given a new name in your forehead, um, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. And they're all be singing, a new song as well, which is the harmonic frequency, right? So, and then here it talks about great tribulation, right? So this is all about tribulation. He that overcometh tribulation will, then he will be rewarded with a white stone. That's why I don't believe in uh, the pre-tribulation, because it's always talking about, and you could go into a lot of my other videos. I have a whole video dedicated to doctrinal reasons why I believe the pre-tribulation is a lie. It's always been a lie. It's a lie to keep Christians, to keep them blind, where they don't see the prophecies. They don't see any of these signs because they're believing that, oh, God's going to just swoop them up before they even overcome tribulation, before they have any hardships, anything. So they're just waiting to be saved, um, before they have to deal with any hardships. And like I brought it up in my previous videos about that's why the story of Job is so important, because even Job, who was a true and righteous man with basically no flaws, like he was even compared to Christ as being like a very virtuous man, he was given all those tribulations during his life, and God let it happen to them. So how are we so much more special than Job? Like, how are we? Even Christ had to go through tribulations. Even his apostles had to go through tribulations. They were burned and crucified, and as well as Jesus, right? So it's like, don't that it's that it's kind of that fear, or that pride, that we think of ourselves that we're special because we believe in the church and blah blah blah, right? It's like that pride is our fall, because then we fail to see the signs of tribulation, because we're just looking for that either that someone to come and save us, so we're just kind of being that lazy and slothful servant, that we just hide our talents because we think, oh, the our Lord is coming back soon, so there he's going to do everything for us. We don't have to lift a finger to do anything for ourselves. And so I don't buy into that doctrine, which I don't believe it's ever been true. So um yeah. So anyways, that's my little rant there. Uh and then, so let's continue on with the video.
How was it made, though, I wonder? Crystal, diamond, glass? This is interesting to put people and things together. This was interesting, too. A way to store souls. Store souls. I'm going to go through, I'm going to reference back on these once I start going through all the stuff that I found. That's really interesting. What does that mean, though, souls? The idea is to recognize you, like a magic spell, to hypnotize, enchant, bewilder. And what happens then, I wonder? A record of you. But why? I had to contemplate. A book of souls. To see who and where you are. The idea of a quote unquote slave ship. What does that even mean, I wonder?
The slave ship, I like I like that he used those words. Like, you ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams? It reminds me of that. Like, the concept of hell in this movie is like spot on. Like, it's probably the most accurate description that's ever been made about hell. And people are it shows them on their voyage to hell. It's actually in a ship, and then it's like they hit an island, and there's all these other uh, kind of lost ships there. So I think it really it's very I think it's a great imagery of like of what heaven, or I mean, sorry, what hell is like. And it's kind of a crazy concept, right? Like the slave ship. So that's why I think like what he's seeing here is talking about like all these negative things, a way to store souls, a way to recognize you like a magic spell, to hypnotize you, bewilder you. Like these are not positive things, right? So in this video, he's kind of seen, I think he's kind of seen that like the market, the beast system. So I'm thinking he's seen this artificial side, um, where people that go that route, this is what's happening to them. And then in the next video, he's showing more of the ones that are the 144,000 type of individual, right? So that's what I think. He's kind of confused, but like this is what I think. This is my interpretation of what he's seen here.
The notion is, if they see you, they own you. If they see you, they own you. But is that even true?
So like that reminds me of of the part in Revelation where it's like it's basically there's he's seen these angels, right? And they're coming here to like, you know, kind of like destroy the earth in a way, but like they're saying hurt not the earth, neither sea nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of God in their foreheads, right? So it's like it's kind of like the Passover, right? Like that the angel that came and slew like the firstborn son in Egypt, right? Like they were passed over if they had the sign on their door, the seal, right? So like it's kind of the same concept here. Is like if they see you, then they're gonna snatch you up into this slave ship because you don't have the seal in your forehead. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing, right? And then again, here's the other um, another good scripture about why I believe like all these the tribulation. It's the people that come out of great tribulation are made white with the blood of the lamb. So we're all being tested. You're not being scooped up before Revelation, because these are people. So he's talking about the seal, the servant of God in their foreheads. Okay. And then he's seen saying, these are they which came out of great tribulation. Okay. Meaning they came out of these people that are sealed, came out of tribulation. Okay. So again, I don't believe in pre-tribulation for these reasons. And there's many other reasons, which if you want to know, you could go and watch my videos in the past. Okay. So, um, so then this next part is very, very interesting. So pay attention to this next part.
I wonder. Only in the spell. But then I had to wonder in the midst of this, because this was all very interesting to me. What if the individual projects back into it as opposed to receiving it? Like a counter spell.
Like a counter spell. Okay. So, if you guys, so I posted this video 5 years ago. Okay. I've been doing this for even longer than that. I've probably been doing this for like over 10 years. Okay. Um, this is my video called "The Most Powerful Meditation in Existence: The Full Armor of God to Block All Negative Energy." Okay. And so I'm just going to play this part of the video, and I want you to pay attention to what I'm talking about. Again, this is from over 5 years ago, and I've been doing this for a long time. Okay. I'm hoping you guys could hear my videos well enough. Maybe I should turn it up a bit. Next step, imagine a platinum-like substance. If you have seen The Matrix, you will know what I'm talking about, covering all the layers of light that you now have surrounding you. This silvery, reflective substance will deflect any negative attacks and will keep you hidden from your enemies, what they call the fiery darts of the devil. This
This is your shield. Now, after you feel like it has completely enveloped you, seal up all your layers.
Okay, so like, did you notice what I said? Like, they will not see you. This is the counter spell, so to speak. This is the shield of God. That when I think it's was it Peter or Paul to talk about putting on the full armor of God? I think it's one of them. I don't know. One of the apostles of Jesus. They go in a brief, a big description of what that is, and I talk about it in this video. If you guys want to watch it, it's a great video. It teaches you how to put on the full armor, which is what he's talking about right here. What if the individual projects back into it? He's talking about this spell. So the spell is going to happen. Okay, if you don't have this the full armor of God on, if you don't have the name of God sealed in your forehead, then you are you're in danger of whatever this thing is, whatever this thing that's going around to capture you, to put a spell on you, to bewilder you, to hypnotize you and enchant you. You are in danger. Okay. So what I'm teaching here is literally I'm teaching you how to put this reflection as part of this meditation. It's basically a prayer. Meditation is the same thing as praying. It's the same exact thing. People be like, "Oh, this is this is from the devil or whatever." But no, nothing positive comes from the devil. Okay, it's the full armor to block all negative energy. And what most prayers and meditation don't offer is this. What I'm talking about here. This
Light that you now have surrounding you.
this
Silvery reflective substance.
I call it a silvery reflective substance that you put around you. So it's like a mirror that blocks and actually sends back any negative energy. And I've used this throughout my life. So like when people attack me or try to attack me in certain ways, even if it's on the internet or anything, okay, that negative energy always gets sent back to them. So it's a direct counter spell to any kind of negative things. So like if like witches or whatever are trying to put a curse on you, they get cursed themselves because it reflects back to them. And it also hides you. So like I've been in situations where I've literally walked in a group of people. I could walk anywhere and people would not see me, as if I'm invisible to them, where I'm in a very dangerous spot and my enemies do not even see me, like as if I went invisible. Okay, and that's happened to me before. So let's continue on.
Glitch in the matrix.
I like how he says a glitch in the matrix when it's almost like he's watching this video, right? Where I talk about the matrix.
Question. That would make for a very interesting experiment. Changing the code, or push the coding in reverse. It would be a system change. A reboot or reset could be exposed. One would have to project as opposed to receive. How would that work out, I wonder? A standstill, a strong individual, a strong mind, a strong brain, a strong focus to affect the mechanics.
This is basically this whole video that I'm doing right now, this whole live session. Like this is the most important part of it. Because of this meditation, and all of my videos have been culminating to this time where it's like this is the end of tribulation. Rapture is coming. Whatever you want to view rapture as if we're physically taken up, if it's a consciousness thing, if it's a parallel dimensional shift that happens, if it's time going backwards, whatever it is, okay, no one really knows. All right. It's never happened before. We don't really know. Maybe we'll never even realize it happened. Maybe it's already happened. Who knows? Okay. We don't know. But like what he's saying here is very, very important. Okay. And it ties directly into the meditation that I've been trying to teach people since 5 years ago. Even before that, I was doing it on like Facebook and things like that. But like, um, let's go over what he said again. Okay, so this he's saying this counterspell. It's like a glitch in the matrix. Okay, it's like so the matrix is it relies on rules, right? Like, and the matrix does not know how to deal with like a paradox or a miracle, which they're kind of the same thing, right? A miracle is sort of a paradox, right? It's a glitch. It's like it shouldn't happen, but it does, right? Um, and so he's saying whatever this event is, it's putting this sort of like it's coding, right? That's another like an artificial word, right? Code. So he's saying this whatever this counter spell is, this he talks about um if this individual, so he's talking about all this stuff that's going to happen, but then there's this one type of individual which I believe is the the archetype of the 144,000. I don't think 144,000 is a literal number, um, but it's more of like a type of individual, like their frequency, their basically alignment to God, like their how much of the full armor of God do you have on you? So this individual is able to put up a counter spell which becomes a glitch in their whole system. Okay. And this is what I ultimately think the two witnesses are really why they're so crucial in this whole story of what's going on. These two witnesses are just it's almost like it's almost like the devil has this deal with like God, kind of like in the book of Job, right? They had a deal together where it's like the so if we bring it back all the way back, all the way back before even creation, right? There was a war in heaven where like Lucifer took a third of the whatever you want to call it, like the people, think of it as like angels or like souls or whatever. Like he took a third of the spirits away from God, right? So it's like here in this world, in this dimension, right? He's trying to finish what he started, so to speak, right? So he's given 7 years to do it. Okay. So how do you capture the other 2/3 of souls here while you're on this planet, right? This could be the way to do it, right? This is the mark of the beast, right? This is the thing that they're putting in their foreheads, right? That's blotting out their names. That's cutting them off from the presence of God, right? Changing your DNA, whatever. Like it's all it's the same kind of strategy playing out. So these two witnesses, I think, is like this individual, which the two witnesses, and then there's the 144,000 and the elect. So it's kind of like levels of this game being played. Um, and so he's saying if there's this individual he calls him a strong individual with a strong mind and a strong brain, with a strong focus to affect the mechanics. Think of it as like the quantum mechanics of this, whatever this event is, right? And it's a way to push the coding in reverse. A reboot or reset could be exposed. One would have to project as opposed to receive, just like I teach here in my video, The Full Armor of God. I'm teaching you how to project out, how to counter spell any negative energy that flows your way. Okay. Um, and so you're not receiving any of that negative stuff. It's a direct counter spell. Like if you ever played like Magic the Gathering or anything, it's a counter spell. Okay, it's a shield. It's a reflective. It shoots back whatever is sent to you. Okay, so and he's saying if this individual is able to pull it off, a reboot or reset could be exposed. So it would put a whole crack into the whole matrix that this you know the Satan character has put up, right? This beast, right? It just destroys the whole thing because he has to. I believe he has to get 100% of people on board. Like we saw this with like the COVID times, right? Like they were pushing for 100%. Like it was 100% we need to be vaccinated, right? We need to we need to shoot for 100% of people to be on board, right? Which they probably got, probably more than 50%, right? So this is kind of the last push, right? If you're not to that level in the game where you have the name of God imprinted in your forehead, then you are in danger being of being captured and put on this slave ship that he calls it, right? Um, and you got to really think about this, okay? In the Revelation it talks about putting God's name in their forehead, right? Like that's the whole thing. Um, right? Like it's all about the name. Why is the name so important, right? What have I been teaching you guys all these years? I've been teaching you the name of God and why it's so important. Okay. The literal name. Why is it so important? Well, why does the book of Revelation make it so important? Why is this important? Like we really have to think. Okay, people believe they have the name or whatever, right? It's all just, to me, anything less is just a mockery. And um uh, everything that I've learned, all this religious stuff, the spiritual stuff, I read all the texts, I read all the religious books. I've I've studied for so long into all these things. And the one most important thing that I've figured out is the name of God. It all culminates as if it's like the capstone, right, to the tippity top of the pyramid to achieve enlightenment, to achieve this this level that Christ wants us at, right? Is to actually have this name because if this whole world is a test, then that is the final answer. That's like it's like the extra credit answer that if you fail everything else, but if you know that, then that will put you through. That will help you pass the test in the end, because you have to dig through all of this BS that this world sends you. There's just so many tangents, so many rabbit holes you could go down. There's so many things you could learn. There's so many distractions. There's so many, just anything that'll take your focus off what really matters. And um, I think that this name, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my previous videos. I talk about Lucian Khan. If you study him, if you study what he figured out that there's literally a name imprinted upon every ounce of this world, every microorganism, every living thing, every part of this universe has a name imprinted within it, and it's in the very mechanics of everything about this reality that we live in. And it all ties back to all this, all at what every religion has come from. And it's hard to say like how important it is until you actually discover it, and then you actually like say it out loud, just like in the never ending story when Sebastian has to say the name out loud, and then everything, then the whole world, he's given, it's the same imagery. Like he's given the white stone with a new name written on it that only he knows, because we don't actually hear the name that he says, right, in the movie. And then time reverses back, where he's back, you know, with the bullies, right, at the very beginning of the film, right? So it's like the same thing of like time going back, right? But anyways, like, yeah, this is everything right here. Um, and I would encourage you guys to watch my previous videos, watch Lucian Khan. He has a YouTube channel as well that goes into a lot of this stuff, because I think he has discovered the greatest discovery of any religious or spiritual person that's ever been discovered. So, anyways, that's my rant. Let's continue on.
Question? That would make for a very interesting experiment. Changing the code, or push the coding in reverse. It would be a system change. A reboot or reset could be exposed. One would have to project as opposed to receive. How would that work out, I wonder? A standstill, a strong individual, a strong mind, a strong brain, a strong focus to affect the mechanics. That's how that would work out, in my opinion. Counterspell. Like being inside a projector, flashing frames, flashing images, one after another. This again has a sense of hypnotic induction to it. Flashing these frames in a fast projection. For what though, I wonder? To get this effect to alter people's perception. A type of mind control, a Pied Piper, leading people into a type of netherworld. And I found a reference for netherworld that really is very interesting. I'll get to that. What does that even mean, though, I wonder? A not so real world. This happens when the brain is subjected to this, an optic sensation. Very hypnotic. It's a type of quote unquote magic. To put someone to sleep, like a spell, like in the first session. What is the proposed outcome by the creators of this?
This, I think, is that strong delusion that's talked about in the Bible. That it's like people will be drunk with a strong type of delusion. I think this is all tying together with that.
Heavy influence and control, a quote unquote mass control, with quote unquote mass being like a ritualistic rite being carried out, like you go to church on Sunday, it's a mass. What was that kind of thing? That's what I meant by that.
It reminds me of this show Midnight Mass on Netflix. The show's really crazy. It's like I said, like all these movies and TV shows that come out of Hollywood, dude, if you're just watching it for entertainment, you're missing out on what they're actually trying to say. So,
Why though, I wonder? An indoctrination of its disciples, as in those who witness are then considered disciples and partners of a type of coven, a mass ritual, a new religious order, a new religious order or movement, a new order. These people then go out as disciples having been initiated within this structure.
Oh, I had this Bird Box. So it reminds me, if you ever seen the movie Bird Box, like there's these, once they have to, basically the premise of the movie is you have to kind of shield yourself from this entity that's going around, and it's kind of like giving a flashing light to these people, and then they're changed and they become like this guy, where this guy has seen this entity, and it puts them under a spell or hypnotic trance or whatever, where they kind of behave like very cult, like an occult like behavior, where they're trying to get everyone to witness whatever uh, this entity, this hypnotic spell is. So they all want you a part of it, and the only way to avoid it is to shield your eyes from actually looking at it. I thought that was interesting.
In accordance with some doctrine. That was interesting to me. What is the doctrine? An agreement of sorts between or within this happening. An acceptance to be taken out and shared. Almost to the point of preaching. Like, go there. What is this burst effect, though, I wondered? It's like an optics camera. A flash shot. Template. But a template of what? I had to wonder. Many screens flashing, pulsating in random. Pulsating in random number patterns. Primary numbers. Like a database feed. A series of flashes into the eye. Why the eye is so important. Like a pulse wave, reading optic nerve patterns. A series of images in a cone shape. This is like an eye here. To not just identify, to identify. Detection device. But this random numbers was interesting. Why? No one can be the same or identified per region numbers. I'm not sure what that means. Sequenced, categorized, sequenced and patterned, pulse wave readings, pattern recognition into a type of cache. Cache, though. And again with the eyes. The eyes are so important with this. A series of eyes captured, sequenced, and delivered. Data. Delivered, though, I wonder. To where? This kind of data is anything. A main menu, like a vault of memory flash, on and off, absorbing and recording data. Then there was this, again with the eyes, like an eye nebula in space being recorded by this satellite. Pattern detection.
Okay, I'll try to speed it up. I don't have too much time left, but so this stuff is like what he's seeing here is crazy. So this thing, right? It's reminding me of this world coin, okay, where there's literally people that are lined up. You see, there's people. There's all these hundreds of people. WorldCoin craze, hundreds line up to scan their eyeballs. This was 6 months ago. Okay, so this is all happening in real time. This is happening all around the world. Okay, where they're literally going up to this little ball here, and they're looking into it and they're scanning themselves. It reminds me of, like I said, the TV show Future Man. They do kind of the same thing. It even looks like it. It's sending, so they capture. They look into it. It captures whatever it does, and then it's sent off into a who knows, right? Just another tangent. Like all this stuff is also remind me of Project Bluebeam. Now, wait, this conspiracy's been around for a minute now, and we haven't seen any evidence of this actually happening. But I think this is very interesting of what it is. So this is like something I researched like 12 years ago probably, and I was always like, this is like a end game type of scenario. This is like the last final part of their whole like plan of world domination. Like this is kind of like the very end scene of it. So I'll just reading off this Wikipedia. Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory which claims that NASA is attempting to implement a new age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via a technologically simulated second coming. So the theory of it, which I think is kind of interesting. Let's see, you could go over this stuff, but Step two was what I was really interested in. So it says the theory. There's steps 1 through 4 of like how they're going to accomplish this. Um, but I think step two is interesting, where it says step two involves a gigantic space show wherein three-dimensional holographic laser projections will be beamed all over the planet. And like we've been seeing with him, um, he's been showing these weird beams going off, right? Like kind of like going off in space. Um and then it says this is where blue beam really takes off. The projections will take the shape of whatever DD is most prominent. So I guess it's like a kind of a hallucination that everyone's experiencing at the same time, where it's like either Christ is there or Muhammad or Buddha or whatever your choice of deity is, um will be like in your mind speaking to you, right? And at the end of this light show, the gods will all merge into one god, the Antichrist. Okay, it's kind of like pretty far fetched, but like if this is like if he's kind of describing this whatever this weird thing is that's going to be a bunch of flashing lights and it's going to hypnotize you and enchant you and all this stuff, and we know, if you studied like MK Ultra and all that kind of stuff, like it's they have this tech kind of technology that messes with people's heads, and they've had it for like a very long time, and I'm sure they've expanded those projects and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of crazy, right? Like, and then it says step three is telepathic electronic two-way communication. It involves making people think their god is speaking to them through telepathy, projected into the head of each person individually using extreme low frequency radio waves. So again, like he keeps talking about these radio waves and all this crazy stuff, right? So here we got WorldCoin going on. People already lining up for it. So it's like people are already uh, volunteering for this. Basically, all these people have been volunteering, since the COVID times, where they've all volunteered to take the shots, right? And we saw like how easily the masses are manipulated, right? Like it's crazy how how manipulated humans can become, right? Like, and how they're so good at it. They're so convincing, and they have all these technologies now to help convince you, and it's just like what I always thought the mark of the beast would be like. It's people always thought, oh, it's going to be forced upon everyone, and everyone's going to be forced to take it. But no, it's people. I've always thought it's going to be something that people choose to take. Even in my very first videos, I said people will line up to choose the mark. You can watch my videos posted over 7 years ago. Okay. I was saying there's going to be these technologies that are released that people will literally be dying for, that they'll be lining up around the corner for. And here we go. We have freaking people lining up, hundreds of people in a line to put their consciousness into this sphere. All right, that's I don't know what it's doing, downloading them into a matrix, an artificial world. I don't know, but like then we go deeper down the rabbit hole, and guess what? Who's behind it all? Sam Altman, the same CEO of OpenAI, is also the founder of WorldCoin. Okay, like like how crazy is this? Like, how in your face is this? That the guy who is the CEO of OpenAI, which is a whole nother rabbit hole, okay? Like the intentions behind OpenAI. are pretty nefarious from what I've seen so far. And we have all this evidence of all this AI technology being extremely woke, extremely biased, extremely, left leaning and all that kind of stuff, right? That's just like the tippity top of it though. That's not that's just scraping the surface of what's actually going on. Like if you actually look at like the board of directors, the real people behind the CEO that's pulling the strings, you'll see it's the same people that are behind all the other, like the banking scams, like all the it's the same people that are, the same people that are, going after Trump and like all that kind of stuff. Like it's the same George Soros type of villains that are behind OpenAI, and then we have him being the founder of this WorldCoin. So what's their end goal? They obviously have an end goal in mind of like what's going on, right? So is this just like in the movie Future Man, where an AI becomes sort of like the Antichrist that projects himself out and says, "Hey, if you want to be saved, just download your consciousness into this artificial realm. You'll live forever in this artificial realm." Is this where AI is heading? Is this where they want to take us? Is this their intentions? Is this the end game? Is this the book of Revelation being played out before our eyes? Am I crazy? What's going on here? Okay, like what? Anyways, that's I mean that's pretty much all of this video. There's one more video that let's just like get through it because there's not much in this one that I want to show you. But I'm trying to get through everything real quick. So I don't want to make this too much longer, but like there's something. So like I said, this first part of the part 3 is kind of like the negative Mark the Beast kind of timeline. Okay. And then in this next video, he's going to talk about more of the 144,000 elect people kind of timeline.
Okay, so there was one other session here for this Betelgeuse Perget that was pretty esoteric. So I didn't include it. I'm going to put it in this kind of final video that's kind of a little more on the esoteric side, even though the other stuff had a lot of esoteric stuff in it. But this session in particular, I'm still piecing together. And so I'm going to go through it, and then I'm going to go through some things that I researched and try to kind of get an understanding of it. Because this is where the session went. So there was this underground place.
Cellar door. If you guys know about Donnie Darko, cellar door is the most beautiful word in the English language.
These stairs leading down like a cavern or something like that, secluded, solid place, underground, like a basement. The type of place where someone would go to look at something. That was the notion. Like I would go down here, somebody would go down here, in here, and it'd be something there to look at. But look at what, though, I wonder? Something that seems rather angelic in nature. And is it a statue? Is it a painting? Seems rather interdimensional. Excuse me. As an idea. But how? I wonder. It could alter a person's state of being just by the idea of looking at it. Meaning that, people go down here and worship this thing, kind of. And then they would be going to some kind of an altered state. But I had to wonder, is there real power here, or is it just people's reactions? I had to wonder. The notion of people wanting something so badly they would suspend belief. And there was a religious level of intensity, like a religious fervor or an intoxication. This drawing here was interesting, and I'll get to this here, which is this tree of life element here. Is it religious?
So yeah, he'll get into it if you want to watch the video, but like I did also some research into it. So it has a lot to do with the Kabbalah and the tree of life, which is a whole another tangent that I've gone into a little bit in my previous videos, but I'll probably end up making up a new video, but it has to do with the flower of life, Metatron's cube, tree of life, like enlightenment, like all that kind of stuff, right? It goes real deep. This is it's it's really deep stuff. It has to do with the Kabbalah and all that stuff as well. But like I said, I don't have the time to go over it right now. But like I said, um this is the 144,000 side of the rapture that I'm thinking he's seeing here.
So I wonder, it could be, or could be made into something religious. That's a very interesting statement. Based on the star and the constellation, made into something religious. What does it take to do that, though? I wonder. Emotional reaction, deep psychological reaction, meaning what does it take to turn something into a religion or religious fervor? We need an emotional reaction, a deep psychological reaction, and a deep cellular memory activation. What does that even mean, though? Memory passed through generational impacts, stored in the cells and handed down. Memory written in at a cellular.
I think this a lot has to do with DNA. When you study this type of thing, Kabbalah and the tree of life, like all that side of the spiritual things, like a lot of what they talk about is about healing yourself, like healing the trauma so like trauma is literally stored as a memory inside of our cells and things. That's why people have PTSD and things like that, where like things would trigger that response where it's almost like you're feeling that hurt again, either the emotional or physical hurt, where it's like you could, if you've ever had something deeply traumatic happen to you, there's there it could that event could be re-triggered, and then it's almost like you're re-experiencing that pain again. And so a lot of what the the Kabbalah teaches, and these kind of the spiritual, like I wouldn't like call them religious. It's more of like a, I don't know, like I guess you call it what, Gnosticism or whatever, um, where you go through a lot of healing processes to 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 get over that trauma, because a lot of trauma is, and I believe this personally, is stored inside of you since a kid. So like I see a lot of these grown-ups where I could tell that they have a lot of emotional trauma still, they're still hanging on to, because they have not healed that part. And a lot of that is has to do with, Christ giving you that healing as well. There's a way to channel that yourself, and to heal those parts of you at the cellular level, and that's how you're able to progress, because you have to, um, it's a sort of forgiveness, right? Christ teaches forgiveness, and the way to get over past trauma is to forgive it and to accept it, and then that's only when you can be healed from it. So just like when Christ healed people, he told them to stop sinning, right? Because the sin is the trigger as well, that brings back up that past trauma. So when he heals it, he says stop doing the same thing that you were doing, right? So let's continue.
When something is seen that represents this recollection, there can be a deep psychological reaction.
That's the PTSD thing I was talking about.
Is this a good thing, though? It could be good to clear out past trauma and or recognize a personal flaw to be addressed and worked through.
That's all about progression, right? Like we're accepting, we're accepting ourselves, we're forgiving ourselves, and we're realizing the fault within ourselves, right? You can see all these people that are constantly being manipulated and stuff, right? Like they're not admitting, like the whole thing about sin is like you have to admit that you did it, right? Like that's the whole Catholic thing. You have to like confess it, right? So it's like if you're not confessing, if you're not admitting that there's a mistake, then how can you ever fix it, right? So you have to first admit it, and then you could work through it.
Does it deserve worship, though? I had to question. There is no sense of requirement for it. It's more of a representation and reflection, meaning to worship something would be seeing oneself as separate from it. This thing is more of a reflection back at the individual. How, though, I wonder? A strange sense of being able to morph itself or only, like, a strange sense of being able to morph itself or only in the eye of the observer. The notion of people seeing what they want to see in this. Why would that happen, though, I wonder? What it represents from its origin through today, which is part of the tasking, in a very deep psychological way. Kind of like this is like Shiva, is reminding me of it. But I found something that is interesting as well, that is close to that. In a very deep psychological way that is largely forgotten. Forgotten why? A deep state of human amnesia regarding our past and capabilities. What does that even mean? The quote unquote activation of deep human potential, laying dormant inside of each person. Is it a genetic thing, I wonder? A DNA thing, or to activate the DNA strand, I wonder? Or other genetic mutation or dormant pattern? These are all things.
This is like super important that he's talking about. This is what I've been talking about. Is that and this is what a lot of people talk about that are on these sides of spiritual teachings, right? Like I keep saying, like we have so much power within ourselves where we could literally be making miracles happen. Like all these people in today's world that are like focused on like the negative stuff, like focused like, and they're just like just like caught. They're like they're being manipulated to focus on all this the BS of the world. Like we're taught to not be of the world, right? Like we have to rise above it, and it's like if everyone just activated this deep human potential, what he's talking about, that's laying dormant inside of us, where where we literally realize who we are. And who are we? We're the sons and daughters of God, right? We are we are all part of that. We all have that potential inside of us to to allow miracles to happen. I've allowed many miracles in my life to happen, and I see miracles all the time. Okay, and it's become a normal thing for me to for miracles to happen, because it's you have to get to that level of you got to upgrade your soul to that level where it's first you have to you have to heal all your past trauma. You have to forgive it. You have to forgive everyone who has affected you and has given you traumatic experiences. That's why the world is so hell bent on and making you a victim and making you angry at these people who have hurt you, and and how to get back at them, and how, like, you have to keep being staying the victim basically. um and they've put victims on a pedestal more than the heroes, right? And so I don't ascribe to that. I don't believe you should ever be the victim. I've had a lot of crazy things happen to me, very hurtful things, very um things that a lot of people haven't experienced, that are very, very negative, and people have betrayed me and all those things. Like, but I have learned from them because I accepted them. I accepted all those events, and I forgave all those events. I've redug them up because all that memory is stored inside of you. I've brought it back up to the front, confessed it, realize what the lesson was. And so if you don't believe there's a lesson in all these things that are happening to you, then you never learn, you never progress, because you don't think that there's a lesson. So you don't learn anything from it, right? So if you don't accept that it's a lesson, then you don't get any stronger, you get weaker, and you stay the victim. So in order to become the hero in your story, you have to let go of being the victim, which means you have to go through everything that's traumatic that's happened in your life, and you have to heal it by forgiving it and accepting it and learning from it. Okay. And so this human potential is laying dormant inside of everyone. And he's talking about a DNA thing. Is it to activate the DNA strand? Like what scientists call, they say like, oh, there's all this quote unquote junk DNA inside of everyone, right? It couldn't be farther from the truth. There's so many parts of the DNA that you can activate. It takes a mental focus, a very conscious effort to activate these things. If you don't believe that they're there, then you will have no chance to activate them. See, I personally, myself, I have realized that you have this potential inside of you, and I have used my focus and intention to activate these parts of myself that have always been there and that are part of everyone. But just like it's this concept of faith where like Christ had so much faith that it would you wouldn't even say it's faith anymore, because it's a kind of knowing. Like that's a level above faith where I know miracles exist. I know miracles will happen if I let them happen, and I know that I have this godlike potential inside of me, right? And I know that there's all these parts of my spirit and DNA and everything that could be activated for the benefit of humanity. Okay, so my faith has reached a level that is higher than belief. Belief is a low level frequency where it's like it's just like that story of one of the apostles that tried to walk on water with Christ, because Christ knew that even though that the waves are crashing all around us, he knew that he could walk on water. But then, just like in most people's lives, like the faith only, that apostle just had the belief that, oh, I think I could walk on it. Like I kind of believe, but like Christ knew, and that's why he could walk on water, because he knew it was beyond a faith level. If you understand what I'm trying to say here. And so imagine if 144,000 of us, 12,000 from every tribe, right? Every DNA. So DNA, we're all linked together, right? So if every part of the DNA structure of humanity woke up and uh, decided that miracles existed and then created a miracle, that what do you think the world would then look like if you have all those people working together in unison all of a sudden, working for the benefit of humanity? What do you think would happen? That's what the rapture is all about. So there's just a few more that I want to go over. A few more minutes here.
Questioning. Well, what happens when it's activated, I wonder? A growth activation starts. A sequence of events begins. A person would begin to see themselves differently, physically as well as perceptually. A long dormant gene unactivated. It gets this signal, I wonder. It reminds me of a Merkaba. To activate something, to ignite something, to stimulate. A deep, long forgotten code within the cells or genes. To ignite something,
You see what I'm saying, guys? Everything I've been teaching here, okay? It's all coming together. The Merkaba, Metatron's cube, the Fibonacci sequence, the tree of life, the flower of life, the Kabbalah, whatever you want to call it. It's all connecting together, okay? And this guy, he knows nothing about these things. Like if you go in and watch the entire video, which I'm not going to go over, he's just like learning about it as he's go. But why is he seeing these things? Why is these things important? Why is he connecting it to the rapture and like all these things? Like why? what is going on here? We've been so most religious people have just been so indoctrinated with just false teachings for so long, over hundreds of years. It's just like they're so afraid to get to go past the like what the NPC mind is. Like they just and I'm saying like if you're part of the masses, if you're part of the NPC mind, the consciousness, you're not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. And this is what I was saying, that when you get past that trauma and forgive yourself, and then you with your focus and intention start to activate those godlike parts of yourself, a growth activation starts. Yes, that is true. Okay. Since I started doing that, um, wow, it's like every day you feel like you've lived a lifetime, like you become a new person every day. And then a sequence of events. You have like the the dark night of the soul that happens to everyone. It's part of the never ending story. Everyone has to go through the trial, and it's what they call a refiner's fire in the Bible, where God is basically trying you, like Job, saying, "Hey, uh, prove it, prove that you're worthy, prove, that you've made it, right? Before I can start allowing you to perform miracles, right?" And then you start to see yourself differently. It's true, physically as well as perceptually. A long dormant gene unactivated. It gets this signal, this whatever this DNA part of you is activated by the name of God, which I teach in my videos. Okay, just saying the name out loud, it activates this part of your, it's like at the harmonic frequency. So DNA is tied into frequencies as well. Okay. You activate it. And he's saying it reminds him of the Merkava, which is it all has to do with Metron's cube, the flower of life, all that stuff. It's all connected. It's stimulating that fire inside of you, right? That long deep forgotten code within the cells or genes, a long amnesia. So you're waking, was what people call you're waking up, right? You're waking up in the matrix. You're realizing who you truly are, which is an eternal godlike being. Okay. We're all made in the image of God. Did we forget that? What does that mean? And we're all trying to get to the tree of life, right? Tree of life, the flower of life. It's all part of the top is the imagination. What I've been saying in my videos, that mage a nation. We become the mage, the wizard, the one who can counterspell the psyops that are happening every single day. Psyops do not affect me. They haven't in over a decade, since I've been doing putting on the full armor of God. They don't affect me anymore. Any psyop, their psyops are literally happening every single day. And none of them affect me. There's so many psyops happening. And how do I know all of these truths before the masses realize them years later? I knew about what was happening with the COVID shots. I told everyone a year before that they were happening. I told them, 5 years before they started happening, that it was going to happen that way. I've been telling people the truth for so long. And it's because I've been activating these parts of myself. I learned about the true name of God in like 2014, I think. Okay. And that was the end of a long rabbit hole. And that's at the very bottom of it. Of all these rabbit holes, I've I got and I found the treasure down there and I brought it back up because that's also important that you have to leave the rabbit holes behind eventually. Once you find the treasure, you leave it behind so you could go back up into the sun. And that's when you truly become enlightened. Okay? So let's just finish this off
A
here.
deep, long forgotten code within the cells or genes, a long amnesia. These elements here, the Merkaba, it's going to be anything, what could be a representation of Shiva, or it also could be another Babylonian god that I found as well, a goddess, I should say. The idea of worship here, this tree of life element, or Kabbalistic tree of life and religious fervor aspect here, along with it, what this might be. So,
Okay, so like, I mean, that's it's pretty much everything that I've been wanting to share with you guys on this video. Some cool things that just some side tangent things, kind of. If you guys ever watched Metal Alchemist, uh, this episode, the Eye of Heaven Gateway of Earth, like I think this whole show, Full Metal Alchemist, if you ever seen it, it's an anime. It's basically detailing in a cinema, in a animation of interpretation of what's happening in our world today, and it's crazy. And I think like it's going to be the closest interpretation of what's like actually going to happen. um I don't really want to get into it too much, but it's because it's a crazy show. And so like I'm about to end it here, but guys, like I want, it's like I haven't revealed the name of God this whole time because I don't want to just give it out freely to everyone. Like, you have to earn it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I just gave it to you, it's like what Christ said, casting pearls before swine, right? It's just, you, if you don't go the extra mile, then that means you just don't care. So, like, if you don't care, then you don't deserve it. You see what I'm saying? So, if you actually want to be part of the 144,000, you have to imprint the name of God in your forehead. And if you want to know what that means, you can watch my videos and you start to realize how powerful the imagination can really be, and how we can use our imagination to perform miracles and to change our world, to affect the matrix, to counterspell their psyops that are constantly being thrown at us. Where, imagine if none of these psyops ever were able to grab hold upon the mass consciousness of the planet, where no one would believe in their lies anymore. What power would then the devil have over us if the father of lies wasn't able to lie anymore? Because we would not accept any of the lies. anymore because we have evolved past lying where we are all honest and we're all truthful. I think it's especially important that we are truthful to ourselves, where we stop hiding our mistakes. Because if we don't learn from our mistakes, then we never learn. We never progress. If we don't progress, we don't make it to the next level. And if we don't make it to the next level, then we're stuck with being part of the NPC mass consciousness, where we are just like the apostle who couldn't walk on water, where we are thrashed about the in the waters of the turbulent waters of this world that just toss us around. So if we don't have that, that knowing that comes with many years, I would believe, of dedication to the truth, then we're just going to be left behind. And I think that's what the rapture is ultimately about: is are we going to be left behind with this artificial consciousness that's artificially created by social media psyops, you know, or are we going to be part of the 144,000 who have the true name of God upon us in our forehead, meaning that you know who you are, which is a son or daughter of God, and you have then the godlike powers to perform miracles just as Christ did. And then you're able to change the world for the betterment of humanity. Anyways, guys, hope you liked the message. I think the next video I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. Again, if you want to have a sneak peek, just watch the last live video that I did. I talk about Bitcoin a little bit. There's a trial going on for the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, the Bitcoin creator. And I believe that is going to be part of this evolution of our species, where the dragon will be in chains for 1,000 years. Because if we see what's happening, the power of the devil, of Satan, it's all falling apart, right? Because when you take away the power of deceit and lying and of psyops, then what power does the devil really have over us? All right, anyways, guys, love you all. Hope you guys liked this video. Like and share and subscribe if you can. All right, guys, talk to you later. Have a good night.